This is The Real Hustle, the programme which gives you a backstage tour of the most popular scams being run by con artists in Britain today. Our hustlers are Alex. He's a skilled sleight-of-hand specialist and can steal from his victims in the blink of an eye. Paul, an expert on gambling and high-tech scams, frequently working for Las Vegas casinos as a consultant. And Jess, the femme fatale. She loves to manipulate and deceive, especially the opposite sex. Our hustlers have been travelling the UK to demonstrate the cons for our concealed cameras, and if you watch closely, you'll learn how never to get fooled again. This is The Real Hustle. In this episode, we'll see how con artists can fleece you at the port, how a classic market rip-off works, and how a high-tech criminal can sting you for cash online. Remember, all the people in this show have been hustled for real, and after they were given their money back, they agreed the footage could be shown so that you can avoid being ripped off by the same scams. Today, the hustlers are down at the White Cliffs of Dover to show our secret cameras a very devious scam. Jess, Paul and Alex are undertaking a high-risk, high-reward hustle, and their targets are booze cruisers who come off the ferry from France. This is the Customs Sea Scam.
Uniform in this situation is a very powerful tool. The reason for that is if you do stick a customs uniform on and speak with any sense of authority, people are very unlikely to question you. People are very unlikely to start asking for ID and how do I know what you're telling me is true. All that just goes out the window. They just do what they're told.
And that's why the penalty for impersonating a customs officer is so high. It's up to a year imprisonment, so you shouldn't have been naughty boys.
Alex and Paul have pulled into a residential area to do some custom modding to their white van. Due to the dangerous nature of this hustle, they want as few people as possible to see them in their fake customs uniforms. Meanwhile, Jess is acting as their lookout and is scouting for a mark in a car loaded up with booze and any police or real customs officers on the prowl. Jess spots a good hit and calls Paul with the details of the car.
Jess.
Now, I've got the mark, it's a silver Polo.
Okay.
The hustle is on. They find the target and trail it for a while, making sure they find a quiet spot away from the port and its authorities before pulling them over. The car they've picked out has a visible load of booze in the back. But as Alex and Paul drive past, they get a pleasant surprise. The car contains 4 nervous-looking lads, top of the hit list of customs suspects. Alex and Paul step out of the van. In their uniforms, they look the genuine article, but they'll need to do this by the book to be believed. Remember, our hustlers are playing out this con in full public view. At any moment, they could be caught out by the real authorities. The clock is on.
Okay. Ask everybody inside to get some form of ID, passport, driver's license, just step outside the vehicle. Thank you.
Our hustlers understand how customs officials think, and Alex has spotted that 4 likely lads in a booze-filled car were probably stopped by the French authorities first. Alex puts his cards on the table and takes a risk.
And we've been radioed over from Calais. You just come from Calais, yeah?
Yeah.
You were stopped there, I believe, yeah? Customs had a look at you there?
Just said wherever you came from.
Okay.
Decided in shop.
All right, they just asked you a few questions there.
It's paid off. He's absolutely right, and the hustler's cover is now backed up even further.
Well, my colleague and I are going to have a look in the car. Is there anything you want to declare to us now before we do that?
The guys aren't putting up any kind of fight.
All right, anything on you shouldn't have?
Go ahead.
All right.
Volkswagen Polo.
And if they weren't totally convinced, they will be now. Jess radios through and reads out their car registration number for all to hear. It's another slick operation from our trio, and the boys don't stand a chance of seeing through it.
Could you line up over here, please, lad? Thank you. Nothing sharp in here. I don't want to find out the hard way. No?
No,
Okay. Okay.
Paul lines up the lads like a bunch of naughty schoolboys. Looking defeated and doing exactly as they're told, now is the perfect time for our hustlers to strike for the swag. Alex delivers the bad news.
All right, customs have got reason to believe that these goods are intended for commercial use, okay? We have to confiscate these goods, we have to impound these goods and take them to a holding warehouse, okay? What you have to do now is you go back down to customs house, we'll give you the directions, exactly where to go, yeah? There, some officers are going to ask you a few questions. Once they're satisfied that these goods are for personal use, they'll direct you to the warehouse where you can pick them up, okay? Understood? Yeah? All right, we need to get all that stuff out and into the back of that van in front of you, okay?
Quickly now.
So, our hustlers have seized the goods, and to add insult to injury, they've even got the lads doing all the fetching and carrying. It's amazing what a uniform can do, but they need to get a move on and shift them all into the back of the van as soon as possible. The boys have managed to put an enormous amount of booze into their car, and this is taking longer than the hustlers expected. They're running the risk of being caught red-handed at any time. Finally, the last bottles are loaded in, and the hustlers are relieved to have escaped the eyes of the law. You'd think taking hundreds of pounds from right under someone's nose would be a little harder than this.
If you go down there now, they should be able to process you very quickly, so the sooner you do it, the sooner you get your stuff back, yeah?
But because they think they're getting their goods back later that day, the boys don't see too much of a problem. They think they're being inconvenienced, when in reality, they're being blatantly robbed. Oh dear, lads, you've been well and truly had.
In everyday life, we simply haven't got time to check out every assumption we're making all of the time. So if we see someone in uniform, we see someone in a police uniform, we assume it's a policeman. So uniforms are kind of shortcuts. They allow us to make assumptions about people. And once we've made that assumption, then normally the person in the uniform is in some kind of position of power to ask us for money, to ask us to do something, whatever. And so we tend to just go along with that. It's an assumption we make. Like most assumptions, most of the time it's true. In the con game, it's used to fleece us.
Incredibly believable, and I was petrified. I didn't know what to do.
I just thought they were absolute and I was just like, what are you doing? And the fact that we had to carry all the booze into the van was just gutting.
We know where customs officers work. They work at the port of entry, or they'll have some sort of official documentation. And if they're not at the port, if they're not in the environment where you would expect them, then make that phone call to the local customs office to check out who they are.
Our hustlers have come to a pool hall for a few games, but there's no time out from scamming. They're here to hustle some quick cash out of the local punters with a pool proposition bet.
A proposition bet, everybody knows a proposition bet. It's basically, I can bet you I can do something. Will you bet against me that I can or cannot do this?
I think the best kind are the ones where there's a secret at work that the victim isn't aware of. Like when you're in a pool room and you suggest that you can push a ball down so it goes further than they can. No matter how hard they try, they can't get it as far as you because they don't know the secret.
Paul's found someone who's up for a challenge.
Step up, all the way over here. You strong?
Sometimes.
Test the strength. Who's stronger, you or me? All right. What do you think?
Me.
All right, okay. Let's prove it. You willing to put your money where your mouth is?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
If we were just to take this and throw it down there, you could get it anywhere, right? Just depending on luck.
Yeah.
The test is how far you can get it with one finger on top.
Yeah.
And you've got to press it down as hard as you can.
Right.
And whoever gets the furthest is the strongest.
Okay.
That's just one finger. Let me
Yeah.
see your finger. I don't know, look about the same to me. So what do you think? How much?
I don't know, fiver. Start.
Fiver? All right, let's see the money.
Let's see your money.
That's fair enough.
There it is.
All right, put it down. How much is in there? What is that?
30 quid or something.
30 quid. Well, look, there's 30 quid. Yeah, there's 30. All right. Fair?
Okay.
30 quid?
Yeah.
You think you're stronger?
Yeah.
All right. Put it up like that. Take your finger. You can go first, okay? Yeah. Press down as hard as you like. Get it as far as you can. I think I can do better.
Double quiz.
Yeah, you've been taken already, mate.
So what happened there? How did Paul manage to thrash the big guy? Both Paul and the mark used the same technique of pressing their fingers down on top of the ball to make it roll from underneath and down the table. When the mark pushes down on the ball, the grip between his finger and the ball causes backspin, which quickly stops it. But watch Paul. Whilst the mark is taking his shot, he slyly licks his finger. By wetting his finger, Paul's contact with the ball is all the more slippery, so there's less friction, and when his finger pushes down, the ball shoots away with no backspin. It seemed to our mark that Paul had the strength of a superhero, but actually all he had was a finger-licking good trick up his sleeve. The thrifty shopper can pick up many bargains at street markets across the country. But if you happen to come across a stall of the kind Alex and Paul are running, you definitely end up with far less than you bargained for. This is the Jam Auction. The Jam Auction is a simple street market rip-off where the customer parts with their cash and gets nothing of value in return. Today, our stall-holding hustlers are trying to demonstrate how easy it is to hook people in with an empty promise. They'll have you believe that if you get involved with their auction, you'll be rewarded with a high-value bargain. In fact, that bargain never materialises, and you'll walk away with less than you started with.
It's a beautiful scam, and it relies on people wanting something for nothing, which of course they don't get.
The carrot that you're dangling in front of the mark is the boxes of really expensive things, items that you have behind you. But obviously you're starting from the cheaper items.
By the time they find out that it isn't a free-for-all, it's way too late.